Although on Rosh Hashanah one doesn't do any recordings and one doesn't give any tzedakah, but this Rosh Hashanah today, which is Rosh Hashanah Li'ilanot, the New Year of the trees, we are permitted to do recordings and we're permitted to give tzedakah, and we should give tzedakah. Although it is the New Year for tree, but still let's wish each other a Shana Tova, not just for the trees. But as it says, Ki ha'adam eitz hasadeh, man is compared to the tree. So just like the tree is getting a new year, we pray to Hashem that man, we should all get a new year, a year of peace and tranquility, a year of ultimate redemption. Let's visit some of the interesting tree stories in the Bible, in the Torah. I'm sure they can think of the first one, the famous story with Adam and Eve, that were in Gan Eden, in paradise, and they were permitted to eat anything they wanted except from the Eitz Hadas, the tree of wisdom. Unfortunately, through the influence of the snake, they did eat, and that's when they realized there is a potential for sin, and that's when suddenly they saw their own nakedness, and that's when God threw them out of Gan Eden. So this has been a some tree. Another story, exactly 10 generations later, at the flood, when Noach wanted to know if the water has receded enough for him to be able to leave, he sent out a dove 3 times. First time the dove came back with nothing. So he realized there's still water, there's nothing, there's no dry land out there yet. The second time the dove came back with an olive branch, indicating something is growing already. And the third time he sent him out, didn't come back at all, so he realized that it's completely receded, and now it's time for them to leave. And since then, the olive branch became the symbol of peace. Why? Because this represented the peace between God and us and the world. A tree. Not a tree, but a branch coming from a tree, obviously. Further story, Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu, if you remember, after he did the mitzvah of circumcision, circumcised himself as God had told him, it was an extremely hot day. God made it special and nobody should come and bother Avraham Avinu. But Avraham Avinu was so disturbed by the fact that he can't be of service that miraculously 3 angels appeared. He did not realize first that the angels, and invited them to his tent to have refreshments, to eat. Where did he do it? Under the tree. In fact, tradition has it that for many, many generations, the community of Hebron were pointing out to one particular tree where this is, which tree it was where Avraham Avinu was received his guest. Now, we certainly won't forget about the burning bush. God revealed himself to Moshe Rabbeinu, to Moses. Time to go on a mission and free the Jewish people from exile. Where was this revelation? In the burning bush. As miraculously the fire was present, but the bush was not consumed. So here is another miraculous story with 3 bushes. There's one which is very intrinsically connected to redemption. Yaakov Avinu, our patriarch Jacob, before he descended to Egypt, he took along cedar trees and he replanted them in Egypt. And he told his family, make sure that you keep on pruning these trees and replanting them. Why? Because a day will come when you're going to leave Egypt. He prophesied already, there will be slavery, there will be an exile. And when you will be leaving Egypt, you're going to need those trees. Why? Because you're going to have to build a sanctuary for God. Now these trees the Torah calls Atzei Shittim. Although these are cedar trees, in Hebrew they called usually Arzi Alavonon, but they called them Shittim. The reason why, Shittim comes from the word foolishness. What happened was, there were those staunch believers that they believed in what Yaakov told them, that eventually they will come out, although this is already 200 years. And they kept on taking care of those trees, and people were laughing at them. Fools. They would get up in the morning and tell them, wake up and smell the coffee. You're a slave, you're staying a slave forever. They ignored them, and they kept on taking care of them, of those trees. And that's why, since they were called the fools, God actually called it the Atzis Shittim, the tree of fools. But who was right? They were right.